a connection but got no reply. Don't let it get you down, give it another try. Posted a thought and it fell on deaf ears. Laugh it off, my friend, it's part of the years. Kurt's here to boost your LinkedIn flair. Turn those blunders into something rare. Let's keep the vibe alive and make LinkedIn shine. Send a connection but got no reply. Don't let it get you down, give it another try. Posted a thought and it fell on deaf ears. Laugh it off, my friend, it's part of the years. Kurt's here to boost your LinkedIn flair. Turn those blunders into something rare. Let's keep the vibe alive and make LinkedIn shine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm excited that you're here. My name is Kurt Schmidt. We're going to be talking about all things networking on LinkedIn. Now, to grow your business and to grow your networking, it's really important. Okay, we all know this. You wouldn't be here unless you thought it was important, right? So we're going to jump right in. We're not going to waste a lot of banter and a lot of time up front. We've got a lot of things to cover. What I'd love for you to do is leave any comments or questions as we're going so I can address them as we get to the end. Okay, so and make sure you hit the likes and the things and the claps and the all the other stuff because it'll help spread the word, get it out to more people. Okay, so let's talk about networking in general today. So as a lot of you know or may not know, I've wrote a book on networking and it's been a passion of mine in my entire life. But doing it via networking digitally on LinkedIn is a bit different. And we're going to talk through a bunch of those things today. All right. So I want to jump in right away. Okay. So we're talking about how to build and manage a network that drives results. The key word here is manage. We want to manage that network because it does no good for us once we connect with people and then do nothing with it, right? So let's try and fix how we can actually do that. Okay. So over the next hour, I'm going to teach you about how to master social selling. Now, if that term turns you off, I totally understand, but let's just call it what it is. We're social selling, whether you're selling yourself as a potential employee or you're selling a service or a product to a business. Okay. So I want to show you about how to strengthen that network and stop wasting time and wondering, what do I do next once I connect with people and all of that stuff. So, and this is just an example about how my coaching and my business helps people like you and your businesses grow. So if you have questions about how I can help you, make sure you reach out. Okay. So I want you to put a 1 in the chat if you are here to build a strong LinkedIn network for your business or career. I want you to put a 2 if you're just trying to improve messaging, increase engagement. And then 3 if you're looking for connection management specifically and growth. So put in the chat, type of 1, type of 2, type of 3. You can put all 3 in if that's what you want to go through. I just want to get a good idea of what everybody here is thinking about. Give me a sense of what I should be focusing more on for this. Okay. All right, let's move on. So quick little bit on my story here. So I have been doing professional networking for a very long time. I specialize in consulting with B2B companies and solopreneurs to drive their business growth through things like targeted sales strategies and operational enhancements. And I've worked at a number of agencies. I've started my own businesses for years. A number of them have entered the Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies list, and I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud to be here with you. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy Thursday to join me. Okay, so today's agenda. First thing is we're going to talk through some of my secrets. Okay, these are secrets around my daily, weekly, and monthly routines. And then also, we're going to go through effective messaging strategies. And then we're going to talk about managing your LinkedIn network. And then we'll have some further support and questions and answers. Okay. So, again, as I mentioned, as I'm going through this, if you have comments or questions, or if you want to add to the, you don't have to just have questions. If you want to add to the conversation, share some of your knowledge with everyone else, please do so. Okay. So this is kind of the overall breakdown of like the simple routine that I use every day to make sure that I am staying on top of what's happening on LinkedIn. So we've got a 10 to 15 minutes a day. Okay. Now, again, sometimes I spend more time than this, but I spend no less time than this. Okay. So 10 to 15 minutes every day, we're engaging with posts. Okay. What does that mean? That means not just liking posts, but commenting, resharing posts, and helping to celebrate other people and the work that they're doing. Okay. The more that we can be cheerleading for other people, the better it is, reflects on our efforts and the things that we're trying to do. Okay. So, and then we're also sending personalized requests, connection requests. And I'm going to go through what those things should look like in the messaging section. Okay. So, the idea here is when we're sending out these connection requests, we're doing it every day. We're spending about 5 minutes finding people that are targeted people, okay? Targeted groups that we are trying to connect with, not just anybody. Okay, we're trying to find those targeted peoples. And then we're spending about 5 minutes responding to messages and checking our inbox and checking, just if people have engaged with the content we've shared. What am I passionate about or extra passionate about this week? What have I been researching? What have I been reading? What videos have I been watching? What would my connections and my targeted group, the people that I want to not only connect with, but I want to grow my connections with, what's content that would engage with them? Okay, so I'll spend some time planning that. And then following up with my connections. Again, back to what I was saying earlier, if there's people maybe I haven't reached out to in a long time, maybe people I haven't spoken with in a while, maybe people that just kind of fell off the radar, I'll just kind of do some grooming there, go back and reach out to people and be like, oh yeah, there's Matt. I haven't talked to Matt in like a couple of months. I should check in with him and see what's happening and what's going on there. And then we're going to talk about reviewing your performance. Okay, that's key. Okay, we want to make sure we are checking what's happening with our performance. Okay, and I'm going to get into that in more detail here in just a second. So 2 to 3 hours a week, or month. Sorry, I'm on monthly. 2 to 3 hours a month. I'm reviewing my connection growth. Am I on track? Am I hitting the targets that I've set for myself in terms of growing my network? Okay. And then I want to adjust my strategy based on that performance. So I'm spending, about 2 to 3 hours a month sort of planning out like, what is this going to be? So sometimes I'll even come up with theme months, right? So for the next month, it might be a theme around this particular thing that I'm extra interested in, or I'm seeing a lot in the news lately, and I want to talk more and more about that thing. So I'll plan what that next month might look like. And again, it's not a detailed plan. It could just be some bullet points, and it can just be some things that help me understand exactly what I'm going to be doing in the beginning. Because the worst thing you can be doing on LinkedIn is just running a sort of a reactionary plan. That's not strategy. Okay, you've got to be consistent with that strategy. Okay, so I want to talk about reviewing growth. Okay, and what that means. So for those of you who have been on LinkedIn for a while, or probably have LinkedIn um, Sales Navigator, and if you don't have Sales Navigator is a platform that LinkedIn allows you to subscribe to at a substantial cost. It's not cheap. But what they do is they provide you with things like this social selling index. Give me a 1 in the chat if you've got Sales Navigator and you've looked at this before. Give me a 2 in the chat or in the comments if you have never seen this before. So what it'll do is it'll kind of give you a ranking of what your impact is. Now, to be honest, between you and me, this doesn't mean anything to me. If I look over, if I hover over the question mark here, complete your profile with the customer in mind. How do they know who my customer is? Um, it's kind of ridiculous. But if you're new to Sales Navigator, you could find it under here. It's under Social Selling Index right here. But it's like here's your social selling index. Here's your rank. But none of these things tell me a lot about stuff. Okay, so what I want to do is share with you a couple of other tools that I've experimented with and I've tried that might be helpful for you to use. Okay, one is called Shield Analytics. So Shield app is something that is a bit more detailed. It pulls a lot of data from LinkedIn and gives you an idea of how posts are doing, what content is doing well that you've shared. And you can go way, 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 way back. This is way easier than like scrolling through your feed, right? So you can get an idea of like how many impressions, what kind of reactions. So it'll get, and then you can jump right to the post and see how well that thing has and that post has done. And it'll give you an idea when you're building that strategy for that month coming up or that week coming up. What things have people been really interested in? Okay, what things have really shot through the roof and made people get excited about stuff? And go back and go back and go back. And again, I know we're not talking about content here necessarily, but just as an FYI, if you see something from, back in March that did really well, maybe repost it or reshare a version of it. There's nothing wrong with resharing content because I guarantee you, the entire people, all the people that follow you did not see all of it. Okay. So this is Shield. It's again, these things cost money. But again, it depends on how much you want to invest in growing that network. Okay. The next one I want to show is Analytics. It's not a great name and the user experience is not great. But it does have some unique things where I can see like right away, it shows me like most engagement rate, most comments, most impressions. It'll also give me, my publishing volume, which is kind of a neat chart. Shows you like how much, on Tuesdays, which is, I like to post on Tuesdays, and very rarely on Saturdays and Sundays. But that's for another episode. I'll talk about great times of the week to be posting. But here we can see the engagement rate, like what gets the most, what days actually get a lot of engagement, which is kind of backwards to in way to what I'm doing. So again, there's lessons to be learned there. I can see, total impressions for a certain date range. I can see which ones, this one's got the most comments, 53 comments here, 162, 49, gives me an idea of like what I can do. This is why, again, I go back to how to, stick with that monthly routine and be able to strategize what's happening and what's coming. And if you are, again, I know this isn't an episode that's strictly about content, but if you are interested in seeing sort of what's happening out in the LinkedIn influencer world, there's a influencer networking place called Favicon. It's Favicon if you're a web developer. It's with a K, not with a C. And it'll give you an idea of like who's growing really quickly on LinkedIn. It'll give you an idea. You can search for their stuff. But what I like here is you can see which formats are performing the best right now. And you can see an image is performing like crazy. And then video is right behind it. And then a carousel is like kind of eking along back there. And you can also see top posts, what has a ton of engagement. Again, I'm not saying you just go in and copy these things, but this could inspire you when maybe you're not that excited. It gives you some ideas on like what you should be focused on in order to help grow and build that connection request in a positive, and those connections in a positive way. Okay. All right. So that's reviewing growth. Now we're going to move on to messaging strategies, and I'll try to include links to all of this stuff too on the once this goes live, or you can watch the replay. Okay. So effective messaging strategies. This is where people make the most mistakes, is in their messaging. This is what kills networks from the get-go, because people they just have the wrong mindset about LinkedIn. Okay. And we're going to talk about what that means. Okay. The LinkedIn mindset is people don't go to LinkedIn to buy. I'm going to say that again. People do not go to LinkedIn to buy anything. That's not why they're there. Okay. So if you are trying to sell to them, okay, you're not going to go very far. It's not going to work. Okay. Now, I get people who say to me, but Kurt, I get all these messages from people that are saying, "Hey, sign up, have a call with me." And why are they doing this? That's got to be working for them, right? No, because they're selling cheap crap. Okay. They are selling cheap crap. I guarantee you, I looked at the list of the people that were joining today's webinar. Most of you people are not selling stuff that costs $500 a month. Many of you are selling things where you're looking for six-figure projects, okay? And you're not going to get that from messaging someone and asking them for a phone call and if they'd like to learn more, okay? It's not going to work, okay? So let's talk through what effective strategies are for people that are selling more high-ticket items, okay? Now, how many of you been to Vegas? If you've been to Vegas, put a 1 in the chat, okay? I want to see your, or put a 1 in the comments. I want to hear if you've been to Vegas or not. Um, when you go to Vegas and you're walking through down the street, if you haven't been there, there's tons of these people that are handing you out little flyers and tickets to things. Okay, usually it's stuff that you really don't want to be participate in. But as you walk down the street, they're just trying to hand you these things, and you don't want these things. But every once in a while, especially if you're from Minnesota, you might instinctively be like, "Oh, oh sure, yeah, okay, I'll take it from you." And you grab the thing, and then and it's almost like they're saying, "Hey, here, you throw this away for me, okay?" Um, this is what how a lot of people approach messaging on LinkedIn, is that they are showing up and trying to hand you a flyer when you're there to explore Vegas. You're not looking for a surprise, uh, you know, event to go to. That's not why you're there. I get it. Like, they're trying to build awareness and it's super cute. Okay. But I'm telling you, like, the people that are out handing out flyers, they're handing out flyers to cheap stuff. Okay. And that's why we don't want to have that mindset. The mindset that we have to have is that LinkedIn is not a social network. Okay. What LinkedIn is, it is a business conference that is going on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Okay. It's a business conference that's going on. If you've ever been to a conference before, you're usually there not to buy something. Why do people go to business conferences? They go there to learn, they go there to educate themselves, they go there to get better at the work that they're doing, the services that they're offering. And maybe there is somebody there that they can learn from that can help them enhance their work. Okay. But that's how we need to be approaching people on LinkedIn. Okay. When people are on LinkedIn, a lot of times when we show up at LinkedIn, we've got our blazers on, right? We've got our, um, we've got a shirt with a collar on, or we've got, a nice shirt on, and we've done our hair. Okay. So we're there at a different level than we are when we open up Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or any of these other social sites, right? When we're at those places, we have different sort of personas we take on, right? On Facebook, you take on a specific, a more muted, because grandma might see it, or that crazy uncle will comment on it again and stop commenting on it, crazy uncle. But this is a business conference. That's what's happening in LinkedIn. And if we are sending bad messages to people, imagine when you've been to a conference before and a couple of people are having a little conversation and you walk up to them and you're like, "I hope all is well. I'm reaching out for an opportunity for potential potential with our major clients. The client is a global consulting firm, and the study this and that and this. And if you're in an area you could speak on. I'd like to, look at this message. Like, this is the first message I got from this person. Okay. Imagine I'm there at LinkedIn. I'm wandering around the conference. I'm looking at stuff. And then this person just shows up and hands me this giant flyer of like, here, read this. I'm like, no, I don't want to read it. I don't want to read it. I want to move on. Um, and, uh, and again, of course, they want to connect right away, like get you on the phone. Okay. This is the type of stuff that people are doing over and over and over again. And if you find yourself in this trap, we've got to stop. I'm going to talk through what good messaging looks like. Don't worry. Here's another example of a message I got, two messages I got in a row, which basically is asking me to schedule some time with them, like right away. I don't know this person. Okay. I don't need what they're selling, and I don't want it. I don't want it. And what am I doing here? This is just, I mean, it's crazy. Okay. And I know all of you get these types of things, but we gotta look at these things as these are the people that are selling the bottom like 1% of products out there. Okay. They are not selling premium goods or premium services like you folks are. Okay. Now, every once in a while, I like to respond to these people because I am a student of LinkedIn. I like to engage with some of these folks because I want to understand how they're doing it and what they're getting out of it. So here's somebody who on July 31st says, I love connecting with professionals on this platform, especially ones that are making the world a better place. It's the most generic thing. I'd love to connect. And then a few days later says, glad to be connected. How's your year going so far? Anything you're excited about? Again, don't give me homework. Okay. How's my year going? Like, I'm going to explain to you. I'm going to take time and be like, well, the year is like, and no, I'm not doing it. And then it's like, how's your week going? That's the next message is how's your week going? Maybe you learned that I wasn't going to talk about my year. So how's your week going? I just want to know, learn more about what you do and how we might support each other. Well, if this person would take 5 minutes, I mean, not even 5 minutes, 1 minute, they could click on my profile and read my bio and look and scroll down and find out what I do in 1 minute. They would know what I do. So they could actually reach out to me about what I do. But you can tell an automated system because they're not taking that time. Okay, so a friendly reminder to nudge breaks, and I was like, okay, let's meet because I'd be happy to. I want to learn more about what this is about. And then guess what? He never responded, never scheduled anything, never heard from him again. Maybe he actually looked at my bio and found out that I wasn't going to be a good client. I don't know, but never responded, which I thought was funny. Okay, well, I'm just ending it here with one. This is one that I was really excited about, and I went back and forth with this person for a long time. About a year of messaging went back and forth between this person, and they constantly kept saying they'd like to introduce themselves and learn more about me. And I'm like, you've had a year. You could engage with my content. You could watch some of my videos that I put out there. You could like and comment and engage with me on some of the posts and things that I'm putting out there. Nope. None of it. None of it happened. Okay. This is a year's worth of back and forth for this person. What a waste of time. Okay. We don't want to do that. Okay. Let's talk about good messaging. Let's talk about what good messaging means on LinkedIn. Well, it's pretty simple. If we go back to the mindset that I was talking about, if we go back to the mindset that we're in a conference, we're in a big conference arena, we're walking around and we're trying to politely interrupt conversations to introduce ourselves and learn who those people are. We're checking out people's lanyards, right? Which is basically like your little profile on your page or on when you post stuff, right? That's your little lanyard, right? We want to go and see oh, that person's at that big company that I'd love to work with. I should go and introduce myself. And the first thing you're not going to do is go in and hand them this. Okay. How would that go over for you? Probably not good, right? Okay. So I know I mentioned this in the last webinar, but I want to hit on it again. This one works very well for my first initial conversation, my first initial reach out, which is I don't know each other, but a relationship has to start somewhere, right? Very simple, very straightforward. I'm very honest. We don't know each other, but I'd like to get to know you. I'd like, and not in a weird way. Um, I would like to get to know you. I'd like to follow your content, things like that. Okay. Now, if you spend a little bit more time researching the person you're trying to connect with, I love this message works out really well too. So, especially for people that are sharing content. So, telling them, I like the content you've been sharing, and maybe actually call out a piece of content. And it's you're letting them know this is exactly the type of stuff that I've been exploring, or it's the stuff that I post about, or it's the stuff that I'm interested in. And I'd love to connect with you and follow your work. This one works fantastic. Again, if I just take 1 minute to go to their profile, look through their feed and be like, yeah, they're posting stuff that I'm interested in and I want to connect with them about. Okay. Not just, oh, they have a title and they work at this place. Like it doesn't matter. That's not how it's going to work. Okay. Now we're going to get to the last part here, which is managing your LinkedIn network. Okay. Now, back to those tools and things that I mentioned, right? Being able to look at something like analytics or a shield or these different things that are helpful. These things will help you manage your network to a certain extent. Okay. Um, and if the rest of you, if you've got ways that you're managing your networks, go ahead and put it in the chat. Are you using a spreadsheet? Are you using HubSpot? What are you using right now to manage your network? Okay. Because again, I think places like HubSpot and these other big CRM tools are great. But once a person is qualified, I think that's in my mind, that's where they go as a qualified potential lead, not just a network connection, a person who can refer me, a person who can do those things. I keep those in a separate spot where I'm going to walk you through and show you what that looks like today. But if you've got a tool that you like using for managing your network, share it with everybody else. Put it in the chat. I'd love to hear what's working for you, or if it is working for you, why is it working for you? And if it's not working for you, why is it not working for you? I'd love to hear that. Yeah, Tom says he's using my spreadsheet, which is available if you go to kirchschmidt.net, because .com is taken, kirchschmidt.net, you can download my networking spreadsheet that you can use on your own. And I'll put links to that stuff in here later. Okay, so the reporting side. Remember, we talked about this. We can do this reporting with our social selling index. These types of things are helpful, right? Excuse me. And we've got Shield, and we've got analytics. These types of reporting is good to understand. But if we can't measure it, we can't manage it. Okay. So make sure you check out shieldapp.ai, analytics.io. It's not sponsored by them or paid by them or anything. So just check it out. So, okay. So, I want to, oh, shoot. Sorry. I back up reporting. Got to go back to my screen share. Okay. So what I want to share with you, and again, this is not complete. This is just, this is not ready for other people to use, not yet. But if you have interest, you can message me. In the future, I might offer this. But this is a Notion template. I like Notion for simple apps that I like to build. And this is my social selling CRM. And the reason why I built this out is because I don't see a lot of things that are aimed specifically at social selling. There is my spreadsheet, which is, I think, a great networking template. And that is a kind of a catch-all for all the types of networking you want to do, right? Networking for business, networking for your side hustle, networking for your career. It's a great catch-all place. But what if we want to be a bit more targeted and a bit more intentional? Then something like this is a little bit better. So I've just got a couple of dummy things in here. I'm going to walk you through this. You can build this yourself. There's some tricks to it, but it's not a ton of work. But like I said, I'd probably offer this template in the future. So if you're not following the company page, make sure you do so you can see some of this stuff. So for example, here I've got Steve, and I'll open this up, and this will tell me a bit more about who they are. I can put in their company and things, but then I have my engagement tasks set for each folk on what I do once I connect with them, and I have a specific thing that I do for each person. Now let's see if I can. I wonder, can I zoom in a little bit more on this? Maybe I can. Okay. So first thing I'm doing is once I've identified them as a potential prospect, I'm going in, I'm liking a post, I'm liking and commenting on a post. And then I'm also sending a connection request, hopefully referencing some content. Okay, that's really my goal. I want to reference something that they've shared because I've already liked and shared some of their stuff. Okay. Um, and then I might want to ask, then I might send a message to ask them more about something in their bio, something I read in their bio. Oh, I noticed you're from Montana. I hear they have lots of big skies there. I don't know, something. And then the next message might be to ask them to connect virtually or in person. And then once I've got a little bit of back and forth with someone, then I might interact with them. Okay. And then my hope is that actually happens. And then I have some ability to share them. And that what I've got here is a document of value, but it could be anything. Okay. It could be a link, could be a YouTube video, could be something. We get on a call, we connect virtually, and we talk about stuff, and they talk about how much they love horses in Montana. I don't know. And then I've run across a funny YouTube video about horses, and then maybe I share it with them. Okay. Oops. So, and then I'm going to set up a follow-up message about sharing capabilities of my business. Okay. So now they know who I am. They know what I'm about. We've engaged before a bit. They know a little bit about me. They've got a sense of my personality. I've got a sense of their personality. And that's what I'll go in to say, hey, I'd really like the chance to share do something more formal, to share our capabilities or my capabilities with you. And I'm not pitching you anything. I'm not selling you anything. I just like to really give you an understanding of what I do. Now, this isn't necessarily for someone that you are selling to. This could be someone who is highly connected person that you want them to refer you to other people. And the more they have a good understanding of what you do, the easier it'll be for them to refer you to other people. So, and the way that I work this is that each one of these people have this sort of documentation, and I can go in and I can keep track of all of that stuff. Excuse me. Sorry, my computer is running a little slow. Um, so yeah, Melissa, and then in here, I'll also track potential opportunities that come along with using this. So if I do talk to them and they mention something, I can track what kind of opportunity it is, how much it might be for. Now, again, I know this kind of leans into more of the HubSpot-y sort of space, but just for my sense, I like to track how much something could be without having to dump it into a large CRM type of thing. Along with this, I'll list out the different types of opportunities that are happening. And then I have activities that I'm actually doing with each of those individuals that gets tracked here. And then I also kind of dump in, I also have this kind of template that's called marketing team in a box. um, it's not a marketing team in a box. It's a lot of marketing templates in a box is what it should be called. But I pull in editorial calendar that I'm working on, right? As I mentioned, I'm planning my next month. This might look complex, but This takes less than an hour. I'm just kind of dumping stuff there and figuring out what I'm going to do. And then where that stuff's going to go, like here's LinkedIn, here's YouTube. I could have other social things if I want. But again, this is kind of a one-stop dashboard that allows me to sort of keep track of everything I'm doing with specific targeted individuals on LinkedIn. This isn't for everybody in your network. These are for people that genuinely look like they could be a prospect or someone that could be helpful to you. And it's Notion. It's free. Okay. It's not $100 a month. It's not Salesforce. It's not HubSpot. Again, it's not going to have a lot of those automations and those types of things. You can tie a lot of things from Notion into other places like Zapier if you want to pull some more automation or do things. And those things are pretty reasonable in terms of costs. So for those of you, who are working maybe at a very large company, this might be a good way, either way, for you to keep track of what your personal objectives are for your networking, specifically with LinkedIn. And again, you can list them. You can talk about where you're at with things. Because if you're using, and again, like for those of you who are salespeople, some of you might have in the past just used your inbox to track conversations in sales, right? And that's where things like Salesforce and HubSpot come in to help you with that. This is a very similar sort of mentality to saying, I don't want LinkedIn's inbox to sort of rule what's happening. Now, again, getting somebody out of LinkedIn messaging, a potential prospect or someone like that, into um, my email is better, right? But if it's not, if this is still happening through LinkedIn, well, I need some place to capture it because even though you're paying all that money for Sales Navigator, the Sales Navigator messaging is not, it is, if you don't like LinkedIn's messaging platform, you're not going to like LinkedIn Sales Navigator's messaging platform. It's not great. It's not great. So I like to keep all things kind of tucked away here. Okay. So as I mentioned before, if you have interest in that stuff, if you have interest in any of these templates or links or things like that, feel free to reach out to me specifically about a certain subject I might have covered today. I'd be more than happy to share and talk through what that looks like. So I want to recap here real quick what we talked about today, which was daily, weekly, monthly routines. Having those routines will help us stay top of mind with the network that we've already connected with. It's a way to manage our network by getting out in front of them and letting them know that we are still creating things of value, we are still sharing things of value, and that you are also still cheerleading them on. You're still rooting them on by commenting, liking, and resharing the work that they are doing. Right? You're also sending signals to your network about the things that you value and the things you're interested in, things that you care about, which is really important, right? Because as I mentioned in the last webinar, we're looking for signals on LinkedIn, not sales. Okay. The more that we focus on finding signals and finding the right signals, the better off we're going to be when we are trying to make connections of value. And again, that doesn't matter if you're selling something or if you are just, um, just looking to build your career, whatever the case may be. But the problem is most people are not intentional. And speaking of that, let's talk about effective messaging strategies. Again, we want to craft personalized, value-driven messages that lead to meaningful engagement and possible business opportunities. But if they don't lead to business opportunities, I guarantee you they're going to lead to education. They're going to lead to personal growth for you. Okay. Every single time. Every single time I've made those meaningful connections. And there's a lot of you that are here watching the video right now that drive me and give me a lot of motivation throughout the week with the things that you share and get me excited. So thank you for taking the time out of your day again to spend time here. So, and then managing your LinkedIn network. We want to use something like I've mentioned here to take it off of LinkedIn to be able to manage it separately, because the LinkedIn interface, the messaging interface, all those things are not super helpful for people that need to use it the way that they need to use it, right? You know what I'm saying? So lastly here, if you have any questions or comments that you want to put in the thing, go ahead. If you don't, just reach out to me afterwards. I'm more than happy to talk through what that stuff could look like or should look like for you. Okay. And then last, I've got a couple of quick things for everyone here. The next webinar sneak peek is going to be around content that converts. So I'm going to be talking through how I go through and create content, how I kind of think about it, how I take this CRM that I've built in the people that I'm trying to connect with, that target audience. How do I turn them into it? I'm going to go through Josh Spector's kind of 3x3x3 messaging, which is a fantastic way to approach this. So I think it's great. And so next one's going to be all about that. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. As I mentioned at every single one, I've got this free ebook that you can go and sign up for and learn about kind of how to build with the clients that you have now. Okay. This isn't about prospecting. This is about boosting the revenue with the clients that you have currently. There's some tips in here. I've gotten a lot of great feedback, and I really appreciate it. And so thank you for everyone who's leaving comments that you enjoyed the webinar so far. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. One last thing. Where is it? There's the pitch. Okay. I did that. So if you are looking to reach your goals faster, I do offer the ability to help people out. So if you are looking for, I've got sort of kind of a intro session where I can help you reach out to 20 connections per week. I can help you build a targeted list of network people, and then I can also provide you with some ongoing support. If you're looking to ramp that up, I can help you in a bigger way with reaching out to targeting 100 new connections per week, content and scheduling strategy, and then help you with some bespoke messaging for those folks at all. So if that's of interest to anybody, make sure you reach out. I'd be more than happy to talk to you through it. It's monthly, no commitment, all that sort of stuff. And I'm happy to do it. I really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. That's where I'm going to end things. Make sure you hit the buttons and all the things and the thumbs ups and comment. And if you have any questions, thank you again so much for giving me this opportunity to join you today. I really appreciate it. And watch soon, because if you're watching on the YouTube channel, you'll see that that's the new podcast that's coming, which is going to be called B2B Unfiltered. I'm going to be doing some live shows coming up as well locally here in the Twin Cities. So keep an eye out for all of that. And again, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you at the next one.